Welcome to the Mommy Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mommy Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mommy Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration, or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it. Back with another episode, and I'm so excited for my guest today, finally making this happen. I have brand manager of B96 if you're here in Chicago. I have Molly Cruz. How are you?
I'm doing very well, fighting my inbox as we all are every single day, but
yes, I love that, fighting my inbox.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, you're busy. You're very busy.
How are you?
Yeah, but you're also like the manager, like a brand manager of one of the most iconic radio stations in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area. So your inbox is probably lit, as the kids say.
We're constantly that's why I say fighting it, because it's you get down to, 0 messages and then boop, we'll get off of this and I'll just have a full inbox. And it's fighting the inbox. That's it.
Yes. Oh my God. Well, I love it. I love that you're here. And first and foremost, I mean, you're also a mom of 2. And yeah. I think that is incredible. So again, you're overseeing just a huge media radio company here in Chicago station, which we're going to dive all into your path and kind of how you got there. You're a mother of 2, and I just want to get to know Molly so much more too. So I'm so excited to have you on. First things first, if you don't mind, kind of just give us a little background about yourself, where you grew up, all that good stuff. I know you moved for radio, so I would love to hear all about it.
I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago in a little town called Huntley. I spent most of my life out there. I started my career out there working at one of the suburban radio stations. And that's the story. I moved to Milwaukee in 2015, I believe it was. That's where I started my programming journey. Prior to that, I was doing, promotions on the air. I was an intern. I did anything to get in the door there. Then moved to Milwaukee and started my programming journey. I was on the air for several years in Milwaukee and a couple other markets while I was there. In 2023, moved back here to Chicago, which was, such a cool opportunity because I grew up in the area listening to B96. And felt very fitting. It felt right. And it's a big job, but I love doing it. I love my team and everyone around me, super supportive from, my coworkers and, everyone. And even at home, I think that's, the most important part is having the support all around. So, yeah.
100%. To do what you do, I mean, you have to. And we were kind of talking off the air. We are saying, it's the village is so important to us. And I have 1, but you have 2. So I'm like really curious to know as well, like, how do you balance both, right? Because 1 kid I'm never going to say it's easy. It's never easy, but I will say it's got to be easier because now you got 2 personalities instead of 1.
Yeah. I think what's so funny is like when you have 1 kid, you think it's like, you can't do anything. You're like so stressed and, your plate is so full, but then you have 2 kids and you're like, oh my God, 1 is like, so it's when 1 kid's away and the other one's home, or you take 1 on a shopping trip, you're like, this is easy. I could do this all day. 2 is, I think someone once said like 1 is 1, 2 is 200, it's like, it's a lot. But we had both of our kids pretty close together. They're like 17 months apart. And that was a really, busy period of my life. But now, they're so close. They don't know a world. They don't remember life without the other person. So really are like their best friends, and being so close in age, it's like they just always have a friend. And just to watch their relationship and how they support each other, how they talk to each other, how they help each other, how they get in trouble together, how they help the other one get out of trouble. It is a blessing. And yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. It was really, I'm definitely done at 2. I don't want any more. I think that's enough for me. I got a boy and a girl, so I feel really whole about that part. But it is a lot, and I love it. It's great. I couldn't imagine having just one or just the other. It's
Yeah.
they have different personality. You're totally, under the same roof, but like you said, totally 2 different personalities. And I think that's also really fun too.
I love that. Oh my God, now I'm thinking about 2, even though don't tell anybody, but I have secretly been thinking about it for the past like 3 days.
What we said, neither of my kids were necessarily planned. Obviously, we're adults. We understand how this works. And how that works. But we had talked about, like, both, my husband and I we have like 4 or 5 years apart from our siblings, and we're not super close with them. And so we're like, oh, it'd be really cool to have kids close together. Now, we didn't expressly say, 17 months apart. Finding out I was pregnant 6 months after I had a baby was kind of that's crazy. But, we made it work. And I think it's just, the universe gives you what you can handle and what you need. And, yeah, it's a lot. So take your time. Don't rush into it. But I will say you would never regret it,
I love that. Oh my gosh. So yes, your plate is absolutely full all around with work and your career, and then obviously with your 2 kids. And I think that's just amazing because you handle it so well. You do make it look easy. And I know people say that, and you're like,
I don't think it's ever right. I think it was funny. I was, our mutual friend Letty, I was talking to her today. She's pregnant with her second. She's like, I just can't imagine. I'm like, you're going to be fine. The transition is a little intense, but once you get in the groove, we always, someone sent me something a while back, and it was like, we just learn how to handle hard better. And I think that's something that I kind of take with me every day. It's like everything that I kind of do and encounter, whether that's, personal or professional, I just learn how to handle hard better every single time. And it's preparing me for the next thing, which I know just sounds like super woo-woo and whatever, but I believe it, right? And if I keep that mentality and like that positivity of like, I wouldn't be given any circumstance if I couldn't handle it. I wouldn't have an opportunity like this if I couldn't do it. I do think, like you do, everyone does make it look easy on Instagram and, from the outside, but it's not, it's, you have to make sacrifices. That we were talking, before, offline, and, it's just like, in years prior, I said yes to going to every event and every show, and I'm sure you did too, right? Like I was in the streets. Now the streets are calling and I'm not answering. I'm like, I go, I'm out and I do things, we choose very strategically what we want to do, where we want to spend our time. But most of the time I do choose to be home for dinner and bedtime, and I never regret that. So.
God, that's so beautiful. But I mean, that is real. Yes, I used to be in these streets too. And it's a mix of age, though. I'm not even going to lie to you, because at this point, I'm like, there's nothing out there anymore. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there's still some cool stuff, but I'm also like,
Yeah. I always think to myself, like, it could be the fanciest restaurant or like, the biggest artist. We have, both you and I have the opportunity to meet and hang out with some really cool people. But I'm never going to regret being home and tucking my kids in at night and having a conversation with them. And, you've dealt with this before too. Like, you have really long days or hard days, whether that's, again, professional or personal, and you come home and your kid hugs you and you're just like, that has healed me. I am healed. And sometimes that's what I need. So, they're like, they are home to me, and they always kind of bring me back to center, regardless of like what is happening in my world. None of it matters when I get home. They don't know, they don't care. They just want their mom. And, so it's a different
how amazing is that?
It's
Yeah.
incredible. It's great.
Yeah, it's just crazy because you're right. They don't care. It doesn't matter. They don't know anything that's going on at work in the world. They just want you. You're the best thing in the world. You're the best. Like,
And that's like, that's how I feel about them too. They're the best thing in the world. And I think, it is such a grounding and centering, I'm in the city and running and busy and, meetings and back to back to back and this and priorities. And like, I just get home and they just, they want a grilled cheese and some fruit and we want to go watch Bluey. And that's, me too.
I love it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that makes me so happy. You just warm my whole heart because I love hearing, you know, you're a powerhouse in the media industry. So, and I'm someone who's also in the media industry. So I think about it and I'm like, I'm not alone in this space, and you and I have talked and bonded and you went to my Mommy Collective dinner. We talked to other moms in media and I just felt like a connection amongst the group and with you because to me, like I feel alone sometimes because in our industry, for those who may not understand or know, I'm not going to say it's rare to have a child as a woman. It's not that it's rare. It's just, I don't think it's common. Even though it's 2025, I still think that maybe just in the world too, in the workforce, but women are waiting longer or not having kids at all. So like, when I meet other moms in radio or TV, there's something about you guys that I'm like, like you're one of me, like you get it, So I think that's really awesome. And I'm sure people listening can resonate that whether it's like their office or their industry, the beauty industry, whatever it might be. For me, when I see like moms like yourself doing all this and then being a dope mom, I think that's just incredible. And there's no words to describe it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's definitely, I think, you're always giving more attention to one thing and something always kind of suffers. So, I think, the idea that we can do all things, perfectly is something that we just have to get outside of our minds. I think women we all, I think, unjustly hold ourselves to that like standard of like, I have to be a boss and I have to be a great mom and I have to be, a great wife and a great friend. And it's like, I think in truth, you kind of fail at one or many of those things when you're giving attention to the one, right? When you're at work, you're like focused on work and you're not focused on your kids. Maybe they're at, with a sitter or whatever. And same thing when you're at home, you're not checking your email, you're not replying quickly, and maybe you're not listening to whatever you need to be listening to. But I think at any given moment, you just find that balance, and it's never even. It's never a 50-50 split between either. And I do have to applaud you because when we met at your at the event you invited me to, I think the one thing that was really hard for me when I became a mom was this kind of identity crisis, right? Like my identity was tied, so deeply to my career. And now it was different, right? I was a new, different Molly. Like I was the same Molly, right? I still, did my job, but now I was a mom. And so I was really like conflicted with who, like, again, it was an identity crisis. And so like, I think, you developing a community of women who are also kind of doing the same thing is like, I'm so grateful for that. And I applaud you for that. Like, it's so gracious and so kind and so brave to like, do that because it's something I didn't have when I first had kids. And if I did, I feel like I would have been in a much better place quicker. So I appreciate you doing that. And, it is nice. I've made a lot of friends in our industry, in my company, outside of our company, just with women who are doing things like, cause like you said, representation is growing for females in our industry, but it's definitely not at an equal pace. And so just supporting one another and being there for one another. And, I always, in my building here, we have a couple, it's a 50-50 split. We have half female program directors and half male program directors, and everyone has an equal, voice, and you're in charge just as much as the other one. And I think it's a really cool environment, and it's awesome to see how far it's come since I started in the industry. And I do feel really supported by everyone, not just the females, but like the males that I work with as well. And I think that's really important to empower everybody at the table.
I love it. And I think you're doing an amazing job. And that's what I was going to mention too. Like, I don't really get to work with a lot of female program directors, right? Or people in that space, whether it's music director, brand managers, program directors. For those who are not like maybe in the radio industry, those are people who are pretty much making, in my opinion, the big decisions, right? And they're really I don't know. They're just really kind of making those decisions, then putting people in other positions, right? So like being on the radio, being an intern, right? Or being on the street team, like whatever position, which like in radio, you pretty much have done it all. Like you said earlier, like I've done it all, like
Yeah.
100%. What do you think is one of the most challenging parts of your job? Whether it's like, it could be like the mom part of it, or it could just be, no, it's just hard because I can't, fit all my meetings into one day. Like, what's the
Yeah.
most challenging part, do you think?
I do think it's just time management, right? And just,
Hmm.
again, I'm someone that really wants to give everybody all of my time. And, that's to with all of the people on my team that I manage in, multiple markets. It's my kids, it's my husband, it's everybody. And so it's, for me, it's just time, it's just time. It's, I fall off from, you know, chatting with my best friend, for a week or two because I'm just busy, right? We just have a lot of stuff going on. So I would say that's the difficult part, is just time management. So yeah, I mean, it is time management, right? Not only like with my, like we talked about, I'm fighting my inbox. That's always true. There's always a music log to be done and all of that. But it's also like on a personal level, right? Like, I have to sign my kid up for soccer, and I have to, remember what we're making for dinner tonight. And, oh yeah, we have that thing, at 7 o'clock, and, oh, our friends want to hang out. And, oh my gosh, when's the last time I texted my best friend? I don't even know. Does she hate me? Sending each other memes on Instagram and TikTok. So I think we're good. It's just the management of time in all areas of life. And yeah, that's the hardest part.
100% agree. I think it's time management and balance and all of that, because this shit is hard sometimes. And what about as far as like making decisions? Like, I already know when you're at home, you're making 1,000 decisions when it comes to dinner and what camp we're going to and what we're going to wear tomorrow. I already know your brain is fried. But when it comes to work, right? And we're in an industry that is constantly, I say, evolving, right? Like nothing's the same as far as like when I started at my station, Kiss FM, 8 years ago. It's different. It's just crazy. It's not even that long ago. But now we're talking like, radio 30 years ago, 15 years ago versus 5 years ago, and pandemic, life, everything. So shit's changed. So how do you manage to make decisions? Like, what is it that Molly Cruz, what do you look for, right? When it comes to the talent you bring on, when it comes to the music you play, all of that stuff as being a brand manager, what do you look for specifically?
Well, I mean, I think it's such a broad question, right? And it's too hard to like give one straight answer on anything. I think it's just understanding the strategy and always, delivering on that as best you can, and I think you just, in anything in life, I always say we make decisions today based on the information we have at that present time, and
Mm.
things do change, right? And I think you can change your mind along the way, because there's so many variables. So I think in decision making, I think you have to always stick to the understand what the strategy is and deliver on that as best you can with the information that you have at the present moment. And as far as at home, I just tell my husband all the time, I have decision fatigue and you have to make
Yeah,
where
it's
are
your
we
turn.
tonight? I don't care. I've made enough decisions for the day. But I think it's about just being a decisive person, understanding what it is that you want, and speaking about it, and trying to execute on it, and not waffling. I think is like a big thing. Is you just have to be decisive, make a decision, and move forward.
Yeah, I'm the queen of being indecisive, so that's something I'm trying to work on, especially as a mom. I'm like, there's no time for me personally. I'm like, there's no time I gotta make a choice and keep it moving.
Yeah, I think your gut always tells you, pretty quickly which way you should go. And I think, everyone does it. You second guess yourself all the time.
Oh yeah.
But that initial gut feeling is usually pretty close to where you should go. So,
100%.
personally and professionally, you'll kind of know, you kind of feel that.
But I really like what you said though too. It's being open to that change, just being open to maybe like tomorrow's different, and like you're allowed to, and it's okay to change your mind, even in motherhood. For me, I'm so one and done like mindset, or like I'm just no, one and done. But I just told you like what 20 minutes ago, I might want another one, So I'm like, okay, I'm okay with changing my mind, you
Yeah.
know.
And you make decisions based on the information that you have at the time, and it's okay to, for that to evolve, because everything is evolving. You're evolving as a person, your business is evolving. And, you might say, I want to do a podcast today. And then in 6 months, maybe you're doing something else and a podcast, I think the opportunities are endless. And I think that there's no clear right or wrong in a lot of what it is that we do, professionally. So,
100%.
Yeah, it's art and science.
Oh yeah. I feel like you're in a really unique position, being a brand manager, right? Being the brand manager of such an iconic station, an iconic, if you're from Chicago, like, B96 is exactly, we grew up to it. It's very much recognizable, like, point blank period. So do you ever experience any type of like pressure or any type of like feeling of being like, okay, like this is an iconic brand, this is an iconic place that I'm in? Do you ever feel like almost imposter syndrome, or do you feel like, no, I'm over that? Like, I'm very much over that phase of my career. A lot of us women, unfortunately, I feel like in media fall into that. I'm still there half the time and I'm like, girl, get out of your head,
I mean, I think, I think those things can cloud judgment, right? I think that, yes, it is, you're on a great morning show. I run a big radio station. I think you can overthink a lot of things. And yeah, I think, whenever anybody says anything nice to you, right? Like, oh my God, you're a boss, you do this and you're at this place in your career. And it's like, all of those things are great. I am always kind of shy about, I'm not like a flashy person like that. I don't like to be the center of attention, anymore. I was on the air for a period of time, and that was like my center of attention world. And now I'm kind of like in the background, behind the scenes. And I much prefer that. And so, yeah, I do appreciate the compliments, but yes, I do feel like not imposter syndrome, but like I do still feel like I have so much more to do and I haven't reached my full potential yet. So I think that's the mindset of like, yes, I have had, some success in my career, and I have the blessing, and I'm so grateful to be in this position, and I take it really seriously, but I feel like I still have so much to do. So it's almost like a don't congratulate me yet kind of thing. Like, yes, I made it here, I did all the things, and I worked really hard and all of that. I feel like that's very much, I never question like the work ethic, right? Like I know who I am, attitude, aptitude, work ethic are like my core value for most everyone and everything in my life. If you have all of those things, I think you're solid.
Yeah.
And I think I do. So that's, I have a level of confidence in that without being like, oh, I'm that bitch. Like I'm not, I don't feel that, I don't
Girl, yes, but you are.
Yeah. I think you have to have a level of confidence to do what we do, right? Again, when you're talking about decision making and, in being a part of a large corporation and having a voice on the radio, like you have to have a level of confidence to do that. If you didn't, you wouldn't be able to speak into a microphone. And I think those are things that, the things that we do today, we tried to teach our kids, very early on, right? Confidence and like being able to speak very well, not only talking to people one-to-one, but talking to a group. And we had a situation with my son recently. He was at his preschool graduation, which was so adorable. They come out and they're in these hats and gowns, and they go to start singing these songs, and my son just starts crying and he bolts off the stage. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm on the side. I couldn't even grab him. His teacher grabs him. Anyways, he was fine. He ended up going back up. But later on that evening, I was like, you did such a great job. That was so cool. Like, I can't believe it. You're so big. But like, what happened? Why did you run off the stage? And that I'm shy. I was feeling shy. And I'm like, you're not shy. Like, don't categorize yourself in that shy lane, because you're not, right?
Totally.
You're really brave. And you're really outgoing and you make friends everywhere you go. And I think it's just kind of reestablishing, it is a lesson for our kids and also a reminder to ourselves as well of like, you are confident and you should hold your head up high and you are super smart and people do really like you and you can have the courage to go up to people and make new friends, or can have the courage to sing in front of, a group of people that you don't know. And you shouldn't have any fear associated with that. So I think it kind of go hand in hand. All the things I try to teach myself and move forward in my professional life, I always am trying to like take those lessons and, bring them to my kids too, because I think it's always applicable. It's, we can always try to make them better than we are.
I always say that. I'm like, you're going to be so much better than me, whatever that means. Like, you're going to be like, yeah, you are going to be set up in the foundation that I'm trying to set up for my daughter, just like you are for your kids, is truly like believe in yourself, like, having that confidence. I want my kids to be kind. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that I'm so hard on when it comes to implementing, these, I don't know, characteristics, just these things about, children that I'm like, no, like I want my kids to feel good and I want them to learn from us. And that's why too, like I can't be one person on the radio and I come home and a different person. I want to be this, and I literally don't even know how to fake it, but I just want to be the same person all around. And I want my daughter to be just so proud of me, but I also want her to look up to me, and kind of be like, oh, my mom, is this, and she's confident. Look at her.
Could be. You do such a great job, and you work super hard, and you are setting such a great example, and you're showing her what that means, to be a woman in a predominantly male, industry and be successful. And you are doing it all. So yeah, I think you're setting a great example, and again, trying to kind of bring that home is really great.
Thank you, Queen, as you are as well. You are doing amazing, so keep it up. So you mentioned a lot of in the beginning, kind of like the roles you've played in radio, like you've done it all and worn all the hats, and you worked super hard to get to where you're at today. And then you did mention that there's more kind of that you feel like you want to accomplish, right? There's more that you're like, no, there's more in my horizon. What do you still see for yourself, like as far as your dreams, your ambitions, your goals? What else do you kind of see for yourself?
I mean, I think the sky's the limit, right? I think my personality is like insatiable, right? That's the only way I could describe it, right? Like, one win to me, it's like, okay, that was good. What's next? How are we going to top that? And I think that's kind of my mentality with with everything I do in my life. It's like, okay, that was great. What's next? Okay, that was good. What's next? How do you make it better each time? And so it might be a personality flaw that I am constantly not satiated by, all of the good that happens in my life. I feel like I've only scratched the surface, here. And, I'm grateful to have other roles, now within the company, which is, super exciting. And I think, I'm blessed to wake up every day. And while our jobs have changed and evolved over, a shorter period of time than I think most in the industry, I still wake up every day excited. And I still, have ideas that pop into my head, at all hours of the day and night. I, have to write them down or send an email to myself. And so, I couldn't predict. I didn't predict this happening in my life, this job role or my children or another kid or my husband. Mm-hmm. None of that was predicted. I didn't predict it. I've always had a positive attitude. I'm sure I manifested, some things into my life, but I couldn't predict what is to come next, but I know it's going to be great. And I know I'll be where I need to be. And the challenges that are put in front of me are there for a reason, to prepare me for the next thing. And so, I couldn't predict what I'm going to do next or what my future holds, but I know it'll be cool, and I know I'll be having fun, and I know I'll be working really hard. And I think that's just, again, like the core of me is I'm always going to be fighting and striving to do more and to be better. That's just always going to be me. So I couldn't tell you what's next, but I'm excited for it.
Oh, we're excited to see. Well, yeah, you're super ambitious, and I know there's more in store for Molly Cruz, absolutely. And what about my last kind of question is, what advice, right, or tips would you give to other moms, particularly maybe like working moms, right, who are trying to kind of find their rhythm in a fast-paced career, kind of like ours? What advice would you give them?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just give yourself grace, and also it doesn't have to be perfect, right? I think we kind of touched on that earlier, is like a lot of us women, and I was really guilty of this early on in my motherhood journey, like, feeling like I had to do everything just so, right?
Yeah.
I had a baby during the pandemic, and so it was a really interesting time, because all the moms were on the internet, right? And they're just like the mommy blogs and the social media pages and everything just kind of blew up. And that's where community started. But it also can be a really scary place, as I think you probably have learned, of like, there's so much information online about how to be a parent.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming, and it does make you feel like you have to follow everything to a T. And I think that was more detrimental to me as a mom, to feel like I had to follow along with the rules and the path and the sleep schedule and the safe sleep and the baby-led weaning and how to just everything, the swaddles and the this and that and the baby monitors and the stroller, and it's like, it's everything. And I think that my best advice would be, just give yourself grace, and nothing is going to be perfect, and that is okay. As long as your kids at the end of the day know that you love them, which most of the time you do. And if you're thinking about it, you're already doing a pretty good job, right? If you're worried about it, it's already happening. So yeah, just give yourself grace. I think, I learned that learned that through my second kid, where I just gave up. I not gave up, but I just released control. So I was like, we're not going to be able to follow this sleep schedule because I have another kid and I have a job, and we're just like living life. And I think that was a really freeing experience for me, to learn that I didn't have to be perfect to be a good mom. I was just a good mom because I loved my kids. And
Yep.
I gave up trying to be perfect, and it ended up being way better than, anything I could have ever planned. So that's my advice, just let yourself enjoy, don't be so stressed about all the little tiny things. Nobody is perfect. None of us know what the hell we're doing. We're learning as we go, and passing on information. And I'm sure now that you have, a year under your belt as being a mom, you're now passing on some of the things and the wisdom that you've learned along the way. And it's not I'm better than you. It's I want to free you of the anxiety that I had when I was a mom. So let me help you. Let me share. Here are some clothes that I had, and these are all my favorites, for a diaper rash, and you have to have this and whatever. So yeah, I don't think that there is a clear definition of what it is like to be a perfect, working mom or a mom at all. And that's okay, because you're perfect to your kids. And I think that's that's all that matters,
Totally. Oh yeah. Just like you said earlier, you're like, you go home and it's like your kids are just so happy to be with you and see you and this and that. I'm like, it just all honestly feels amazing at the end of the day when you get to do that. And I think it makes everything kind of worth it, personally.
Yeah, it's like the most fulfilling, thing ever, because you have like your biggest fans are your kids. Go home and they're clapping for you whether you had a good day or a bad day. And that is all that matters, at the end of it, right? What was super fun and really fulfilling. And yes, we're very ambitious women. I think that's why we're drawn together, because we are very alike in that way. But at the end of the day, all you have is family. And that's really just the most important, that is the most important thing.
100% agree. Molly, thank you for being here with us today. Where can we follow you on social, or if anybody wants to contact you, any moms want to chat, where can they do that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm like private on social, but yeah, you'll tag me. I'll reshare everything. You can fight my inbox and send an email from there.
Like the inbox. I
Yeah,
love it.
the inbox.
Perfect. So you're at Molly Cruz on Instagram?
Yes.
Love it. Exciting. Molly, you're the best. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.